access to efficient and reliable infrastructure services enhances economic activities and people's livelihood. The transportation network is a big part of that. Hi there, I am Theodore Henry. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Jamaica Magazine. On the pages today, Jamaica on the road to becoming the fourth node in the global logistics chain. Later, safe commuting on the Mount Russell leg of the North-South Highway. Plus top stories in our news this week. These and more to come after these messages, so stay with us.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. Search for its breeding sites and destroy them. A message from the Ministry of Health.
The battle is on against mosquitoes and the diseases they transmit to humans. All Jamaicans are called to the front line, and the attacking strategy is to clean up our surroundings of all containers in which water can settle, properly cover stores of water, and protect ourselves against mosquito bites. Government is taking the lead in a multi-sectoral response. Here are some of the measures.
The Ministry has activated its National Emergency Operations Center, which is coordinating the response. The island-wide enhanced surveillance system is in place to monitor all fever and rash cases, neurological syndromes and congenital malformations, and any other presentations consistent with Zika. Ministry of Health and the regional health authorities, through collaboration with other ministries, Ministry of Local Government, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Youth and Culture, Ministry of Transport, Work and Housing, on the instruction of the Prime Minister, will put in further measures to ensure that the vector is treated and killed.
Our youth are on board, and through our agency, the National Youth Service, we have ensured that we'll be able to give 200 volunteers to the Ministry of Health from 3 areas of the programs that we have under the NYS. One, our special employment program, which will see about 6 young people per parish, and these parishes are the high-risk parishes that the minister has outlined. But for KSA, you'll see 32 of them, and they will be deployed for a period of 4 weeks. They'll be trained by the Ministry of Health in terms of what is necessary. They'll be deployed, they'll give out the pamphlets and information. The other aspect is our social media campaign, where volunteers also from our registry of the NYS will be working in tandem with the Ministry of Health to make sure that we cover all the social media platforms. And then the third area that we'll be taking them from is the NYS Volunteer Initiative. In conjunction, those volunteers will go out with members of parliament in the various constituencies to assist them with their cleanup campaign.
Right now in central Kingston, which is a very densely populated area, there are 400 young people under the training of the Heart Trust NTA, the Ministry of Health, the KSAC, with the assistance of the Citizen Security and Justice Program, the police and the army, who are being trained as sanitation technicians. And we are mandating once a week, look for and remove current and possible breeding sites. We're hoping to provide, or will provide, every school with repellent.
We have a very active program in Spanish Town, in Manchester, which we understand is also one of those areas which has a lot of the Aedes aegypti mosquito. The program includes town hall meetings, flyers, town criers, ads, radio and cable. We have trained 863 persons to join the brothers already there to disseminate information and to try to identify and destroy breeding sites. I have also instructed NSWMA to send out an advisory to all persons, all companies and individuals in terms of the deal with tires. They should put a hole in the tire before we take them onto where we dispose of tires these days. Those who are unable to do so, we're asking them to fill it with sand or earth so that you will not have any place for the breeding of the mosquitoes.
The Ministry of Transport, Work and Housing is embarking on a $200 million cleanup, which is gullies and drains, etc., through the Jeep Secretariat and through the ministry itself. Within Portmore, we have deployed additional resources, including vector control workers, equipment and supplies, as well as other resources to enhance surveillance and public awareness. The government is taking a coordinated approach in managing this public health emergency. We have to view this as a concern for every single citizen and do our part to reduce the spread of this disease.
The Mount Russell leg of the North-South Highway corridor connects Ocho Rios and Kingston. It's also the first segment of the 67-kilometer North-South toll road and was opened to the public in August 2015. This modern highway is built with sophisticated road engineering technology and comes with features for safe commuting. Take a look.
If you're a regular traveler to the North Coast, you would know about getting stuck on Mount Russell Hill and waiting hours upon hours to bypass trucks that move at snail speed. The narrow, winding and sometimes treacherous journey up the steep incline has been off-putting for many persons who desire to move from one end of the island to the next. But now there's a better way to travel, the Mount Russell Bypass.
The Mount Russell Bypass section is part of what we call our North-South Highway, which will link the south coast of Jamaica all the way through to the north coast of Jamaica. We believe when the highway is completed in 2016, this highway will change the way where Jamaicans choose to live and where they choose to work. It will also significantly impact the tourism industry by providing opportunities for visitors who now just come into the north coast to be able to see the rest of Jamaica.
The 19.3 kilometers Mount Russell section, which traverses some of the steepest terrain in Jamaica, has already seen Jamaicans covering what has at times been a 2-hour journey in less than 15 minutes. However, there are a number of new safety features which have been included in the design to ensure that you make the best use of the thoroughfare.
One of the many safety features of the Mount Russell bypass section of the highway is providing guidance to heavy vehicles which are going down the hill. The sign, which is located at the top of the long decline going on to Linstead, provides truckers, especially truckers, with some maximum speeds that they are able to safely traverse the hill.
The highway features 2 southbound lanes and 3 northbound lanes, with the extra lane being a truck or climbing lane. This auxiliary lane allows slower vehicles ascending the steep grade to keep left while permitting other faster vehicles to pass without slowing down. Motorists capable of maintaining the 80 km/h speed limit can proceed in the central lane, whereas vehicles operating below this speed limit, such as loaded trucks, are encouraged to keep to the extreme left lane.
Throughout Jamaica, we've had problems with trucks which lose braking and then end up with disastrous consequences. So on Mount Russell, we have special features where if a truck loses its brake, then it can go off into these what we call arrestor beds.
Arrestor beds or emergency escape ramps enable vehicles that are having braking problems to stop safely. The facility has been designed to accommodate vehicles as large as tractor trailers. A lay-by has been provided for motorists traveling southbound at the start of the 8% slope. This allows motorists somewhere to pull over and to make precautionary checks to ensure that the vehicle's brakes are okay and/or that the load they are carrying is secure. These strips have been installed as a road safety feature to alert motorists that there are potential hazards ahead, such as bends and emergency ramps. The strips cause a vibration and an audible rumbling transmitted through the wheels and into the vehicle's interior. They are also utilized on approach to the toll plaza to encourage motorists to reduce their speed. Motorists should not proceed through heavy smoke on the highway. Stop and pull over onto the verge and call the toll emergency number for assistance. Once the report has been lodged, a patrol vehicle will be dispatched. Motorists are required to follow the instructions of the patrol officer. When proceeding through fog, motorists should reduce their speed to the point that they are able to travel safely, stay in the left lane, and put on their hazard lights. Motorists are being encouraged to be prepared when traveling the Mount Rosa bypass and any thoroughfare across the island for that matter. Once the do's are practiced, the driving experience should be a pleasant one. The Mount Rosa bypass is part of the Highway 2000 project, which will ultimately connect all of our largest cities through a high-speed multi-lane tolled highway network.
The Highway 2000 overall started in 2003, and so far we have constructed approximately 70 kilometers of tolled highway. 50 kilometers from Kingston through to Maypen, including the Portmore Causeway, which we call east-west link of the highway, and 20 kilometers which have been built to date on the north-south link of the highway. This section on the north-south link will be completed in 2016, and that will complete the connection from south to north. Once we complete that, then we'll have the final section of the highway, which will go all the way from Maypen into Montego Bay.
To find out more about the work being done under the Highway 2000 banner, contact NROC at 929-1581 or visit their website h2kjamaica.com.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. Protect yourself from the bite of this mosquito. A message from the Ministry of Health.
From Jamaica's push towards becoming the fourth node in the global logistics chain comes many developments. Among them, increased shipping activities, new infrastructure for manufacturing in special economic zones, and new job opportunities. We'll explore this era of development next.
Investors spending millions of dollars and thousands of Jamaicans being trained in logistics. The business environment is prepared to compete globally. By all accounts, Jamaica is well on her way to a logistics-centered economy.
Let's now focus on what logistics and the Logistics Hub Trust is about. I like to use an analogy with the Coronation Market. Simply put, Coronation Market is one specific location. Goods are coming into the Coronation Market from varying points of Jamaica. That's the farmers who bring the goods in. When it gets to the Coronation Market, in the first instance, the persons who are selling these goods add value to it. It's cleaned, it's bagged, it's processed in some small form in some instances. And then it's sold to a consumer, it's sold to a business place, it's sold to a caterer, varying people who add additional value to it. So then we take that concept and we put Jamaica in as the logistics hub. And for sure what we need to speak about is Jamaica becoming a logistics hub.
That central point where suppliers, service providers, and global businesses can converge. While our laws and systems take shape, the world is noticing that our little island is the perfect destination for doing business. So much so that hundreds of Jamaicans have found jobs in sectors like business process outsourcing, in call centers like this one. But before these men and women could have been hired, a proper framework had to be laid, including training and legislative reform. There have been new developments in the area of education and training. Jamaicans in rural and urban parishes have been armed with a multiplicity of skills. From information on what is logistics to understanding what a container is and how many loads a shipment may contain, to training at the secondary to tertiary level in logistics and supply chain management.
We have conducted 34,850 participants. We have conducted this training to face-to-face, in addition to several online and different, using social media. The ship said, why don't we reorganize ourselves like the airline?
Training began with a course called Logistics 101. It's now been expanded to Logistics 102.
The 102 is an advanced course which again will make free of cost to the public. And this is now a 2-day training program, which we are now going to a specialized module where we're doing logistics and supply chain operations. We'll start by looking at the changes in the whole logistics industry, the impact of globalization, how branding affects, everything, the economic zones, and we're going to take this, as a slice where we get deeper and give people certain tools to be able to analyze the global industry. And this is a must-do.
Business people have also been given technical and financial support to strengthen their institutional capacity. The Jamaica Business Development Corporation, the JBDC, has played a key role with its island-wide mobile business clinics. Hundreds of small business operators are now equipped with the proper knowledge to advance their companies and improve job creation.
We have adjusted our business model to address those issues. For instance, we know that the whole business of global standards is critical because we're not operating within your parish, you're operating within the global market space. So they must be familiar and understand that global standards must apply to the services and products that they will be offering to the market.
Legislative reform is another critical strategy to position Jamaica as the fourth major node in the global logistics chain. Industry, Investment and Commerce Minister Anthony Hilton has spearheaded legislative reform and has implemented policies to ensure businesses can become more globally competitive. One new piece of legislation is the Insolvency Act, which consolidates the laws relating to bankruptcy, insolvency, receiverships, provisional supervision, and winding up.
The Ministry of Investment and Commerce has been doing a lot of work where MSMEs are concerned. So the Ministry of Industry and Commerce went ahead, they did an MSME policy, which really laid the fundamental groundwork for MSMEs to establish and have sustainable businesses in Jamaica. They have been a part of training programs in conjunction with the Development Bank of Jamaica provides grant funding for MSMEs to really improve the governance structures of their businesses.
Legislative reforms have revolutionized the local business environment, putting Jamaica at the top of several reports, such as the World Bank's Doing Business Report, the World Economic Forum's Global Competitiveness Report, Forbes' Best Countries for Business list, and the World Bank's Logistics Performance Index.
The business environment, the businesses that interact with the tax office, businesses that interact with the various government agencies, now will tell you, they will testify that the business environment as compared to probably a couple of years ago has greatly improved. A lot of stuff that they used to take months or a long time to get done is now happening at a very fast pace. Contractors are getting their plans approved even quicker. Quite a few stuff has happened.
The government, through the ministry, has also attracted investors to build businesses to employ more Jamaicans, so much so that the country is being referred to as the sweet spot for investors. Following the Jamaica Investment Forum in 2012, the Sutherland Global Solutions Business Process Outsourcing Center was opened. Then in 2015, the ministry once again, through its agency, the Jamaica Promotions Corporation, hosted Jamaica's premier business event, welcoming more than 184 investors for 3 days in Montego Bay under the theme, Let's Do Business. The second Jamaica Investment Forum focused on displaying bankable projects with opportunities for public-private partnerships, the sale and development of property, and promoting joint ventures. More than $1 billion worth of projects were on show for investors who were notably impressed.
So if we, for a second, just drop off the logistics side and then to focus on sustainable development. The objective is to ensure that we gain sustainable growth. The focus of logistics is based on the trend and changes in the global market. One of the first thing, again, the ministry has been focused on is, for varying reasons, how do we improve our Free Zone Act? The Free Zone Act of the past was, well, where the WTO is concerned, had some subsidies and incentives in there that World Trade Organization has said they no longer want in policies of that nature, such as 85% of what you manufactured there had to be exported, only 15%, etc., could go into the local economy. So we now look at the special economic zone regime to allow for backward linkages, allowing for the local economy to benefit significantly more, but also modernize it in such that it becomes more competitive to the rest of the world.
This would move Jamaica from simply being a transshipment port to a hub where value can be added, where industries can be created and jobs multiplied.
If you're that type of business who want to get involved in, for example, logistics businesses, you can get the necessary training. Training is available, training provided by the Caribbean Maritime Institute. I know Fritz Pinnock, leading the Caribbean Maritime Institute, has gone ahead and prepared several programs preemptively to take advantage of the opportunities that are going to be presented. The Heart NTA is doing some amount of training, and you would have heard about Logistics 101 and 102, which has a free component in it that really provides training and really providing the information for businesses to take advantage of the opportunities that are going to be presented in the future.
Positioning Jamaica as the fourth major node on the global logistics chain is not an overnight job. It has taken years of planning and reform, training and commitment to a long-term vision. The Jamaica Logistics Hub Initiative is not a place, it's not a designated factory. It's a combination of activities and industries, all designed to ensure the country can offer the best services and goods to the world. Through institutional strengthening, capacity building, technical support, and legislative reform, investors are coming and businesses are being rolled out.
Hi there, I'm Simone Wolf with your JIS News of the Week. International ratings agency Fitch reported this week that it had upgraded Jamaica's long-term foreign and local currency issue ratings from B- to B. Jamaica's economic outlook has also been revised from positive to stable. The ratings agency said it expected that the Jamaican economy would continue to grow, given major projects such as the North-South Highway and investments in tourism, the port, and special economic zones. Government, meanwhile, returned to the local capital markets on Thursday, raising $15 billion from 3 bonds, which will mature at different times between 2018 and 2046. Interest will be paid semi-annually on all the bonds. Transport and Works Minister Dr. Omar Davies has announced that an additional $100 million has been allocated for vector control activities through the Jamaica Emergency Employment Program, JEEP.
The Ministry of Health and the JEEP Secretariat will be working together with the NWA in identifying the major trouble spots.
Meanwhile, Jamaica's confirmed Zika virus cases remains at 1, but the health ministry says the level of Aedes aegypti mosquito breeding still remains high in several communities. Zika, as well as chikungunya and dengue fever, are all spread by the bite of an infected Aedes aegypti mosquito, and Chief Medical Officer Dr. Winston Delahaye is appealing to Jamaicans to take personal responsibility for their health and destroy mosquito breeding sites in their environs. 3 renovated wards at the Kingston Public Hospital KPH have been reopened for use by staff and patients. The William, Luke, and Stephen wards were renovated as part of a $59 million hospital upgrading project designed to increase bed capacity. The Transport and Works Ministry signed 2 infrastructure development contracts this week. A $20.5 million contract will cut down travel time for motorists traveling into downtown Kingston along East Avenue and Harbour Street.
Through this contract signing, we'll be achieving the following at the end of 14 months. Widening of approximately 2.5 kilometers of the roadway between East Avenue and Harbour Street. This will see the number of lanes moving from 4 to 6.
China Harbour and Surrey Paving Construction Company were meanwhile awarded a nearly $35 million contract to build a compact modular bridge at Rencombe in St. Catherine. The Transport and Works Minister also opened the newly constructed Linstead Transport Centre, built to serve the 292 route taxis and 110 rural buses plying routes between Linstead and several communities across St. Catherine and into Kingston.
All of them obviously cannot hold here at one time. There's a scheduling system which will be in place, and so the buses and the taxis will use the facility according to the scheduling system, which means that the buses and taxis have to abide by their timetable.
Personnel attached to the Negril police station now have improved working conditions following recent refurbishing works. National Security Minister Peter Bunting welcomed the improved facilities.
I am confident that we will continue to see progress in the level of policing, in the level of safety and security that the citizens of not just Negril, but the wider Negril police area will enjoy as we continue to increase both the human resources and the infrastructure.
3 new fire trucks have been added to the Jamaica Fire Brigade's fleet. The units, which cost $1.36 million, will be deployed to the corporate area St. James and St. Anne.
These units, ladies and gentlemen, will serve to burnish the already positive reputation that the Jamaica Fire Brigade has for its constancy of purpose and an unswerving sense of duty.
The Ministry of Education has confirmed that schools will be closed from midday on Wednesday, February 24, to allow for pre-election activities and voting on February 25. Schools will reopen on Friday, February 26. And as the general election draws near, Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller and opposition leader Andrew Holness joined other political candidates in signing the Political Code of Conduct this week. Mrs. Simpson-Miller said the signing represented a reaffirmation of Jamaica's democracy.
It is also a confirmation of the best practices in our nation's history and political traditions. The heart of our democratic tradition has been the ability of the Jamaican people since 1944 to freely select political leaders to govern our country.
And those were some of the stories making news this week. I'm Simone Wolf.
And that brings us to the end of today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. We value your feedback, so keep the link. Tell us what you thought of the show. Send an email to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm or hit us up on Twitter @JISNews. Also, click on our website, jis.gov.jm, for the very latest government information. Until next time, I'm Theodore Henry, reminding you to take care of your health, eat well, exercise, get adequate rest, and make every day a productive one.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.